Those eyes. Whose are they? I'm not sure why I'm writing this down on paper and not on my computer. I guess I've just noticed some strange things. It's not that I don't trust the computer, I need to organize my thoughts. I need to get down all the details somewhere objective, somewhere where I know that what I write can't be deleted or changed. And it's not that that happened, it's just everything blurs together here. I'm starting to feel cramped in this small apartment. Maybe that's the problem. I just had to get the cheapest one in the building, the only one in the basement. There are no windows down here, so day and night slip by seamlessly. I haven't been out in a few days because I've been working so hard on this programming project. I guess I just really wanted to get it done. Hours of sitting and staring at a monitor can make anybody feel weird, I know, but I don't think that's it. I'm not sure when I first started to feel like something was wrong. I can't even define what it is. Maybe I just haven't talked to anybody in a while. That's the first thing that crept up on me. Everybody that I normally talk to online while I program has either been idle or not logged in at all. My instant messages go unanswered, and the last email I got from anybody was a friend saying that he talked to me when he got back from the store. And that was yesterday. I'd call with my cell phone, but the reception is horrible down here. I think I just need to call somebody. I'm going outside. Well, that didn't work out the way I thought it would. As the fear fades away, I'm starting to feel a little ridiculous for being scared at all. I looked in the mirror before I went out, but I didn't shave the 2-day stubble that I'd grown. I figured I was just going out for a quick phone call. I did change my shirt, though, because it was lunchtime, and I guessed that I'd run into at least somebody that I knew. That never happened, and I'm starting to wish that it did. When I went out, I opened the door to my apartment slowly. A small feeling of apprehension had already lodged itself in me for some reason I couldn't explain. I chalked it up to having not spoken to anybody but myself for a day or two. I peered down the dingy gray hallway, made dingier by the fact that it was a basement hallway. On one end, a large metal door led to the building's furnace room. It was locked, of course. 2 dreary soda machines stood by it. I bought a soda from one the first day that I moved in, and it had an expiration date from 2 years prior. I'm pretty sure that nobody knows those machines are even down here, or my cheap landlady just doesn't care to get them restocked. I closed my door softly and walked the other direction, taking care to not make a sound. I don't really know why I chose to do that, but it was fun giving in to the strange temptation to not break the droning hum of the soda machines, at least for the moment. I got to the stairwell and took the stairs up to the building's front door. I looked through its tiny square window and received quite the shock. It was definitely not lunchtime. City gloom hung over the dark street outside, and the traffic lights at the intersection in the distance blinked yellow. Dim clouds, purple and black from the glow of the city, hung overhead. Nothing moved, save for a few sidewalk trees that shifted around in the wind. I remember shivering, though I wasn't cold. Maybe it was the wind outside. I could vaguely hear it through the heavy metal door, and I knew it was that unique kind of late-night wind, the kind that was constant, cold, and quiet, save for the rustling of a leaf here and there. I decided to not go outside. Instead, I lifted my cell phone to the door's little window and checked the signal meter. The bars filled up, and I smiled. Time to hear somebody else's voice, I remember thinking, relieved. It was such a strange thing to be scared of nothing at all. I shook my head, laughing at myself silently. I hit the speed dial for my best friend Amy and held the phone up to my ear. It rang once, but then it stopped. Nothing happened. I listened to silence for a good 20 seconds, and then I hung up. I frowned and looked at the signal again. It was still full. I went to dial her number again, but then the phone rang in my hand, startling me. I put it up to my ear. "Hello?" I asked, immediately fighting down a small shock at hearing the first spoken voice in days, even if it was my own. I had gotten used to the droning hum of the building's inner workings, my computer, and the soda machines in the hallway. For a second or two, there was no response, only silence. But then I heard a voice.
Hey.
Said a clear male voice, around college age like me.
Who's this?
John? I replied, confused.
Sorry, wrong number.
He replied before hanging up. I lowered my phone slowly and leaned against the thick brick wall of the stairwell. That was weird. I looked at my received calls list, but the number wasn't familiar. Before I could think about it anymore, the phone rang loudly, shocking me yet again. This time I looked at the caller before I answered. It was another unfamiliar number. I held the phone up to my ear, but said nothing. I didn't hear anything but the general background noise of a phone for a little bit, until a familiar voice broke the tension.
John?
Just one word, but it was in Amy's voice. I breathed a sigh of relief. "It's you," I replied.
Who else would it be?
She asked.
Oh, the number! I'm at a party on 7th Street, and my phone died just as you called me. This is someone else's phone, obviously.
"Oh, okay," I said.
Where are you?
I looked at the whitewashed cinder block walls and the heavy metal door with its tiny window. "I'm at my building," I sighed. "Just feeling cooped up. I didn't realize it was this late,"
Well, you should come here.
she said, laughing. "Nah, I don't feel like looking for some strange place by myself in the middle of the night," I said, looking out the window at the silently windy street that secretly just scared me a little. "I think I'm just gonna keep working or maybe go to bed,"
Oh, nonsense. I can come get you.
she replied.
Your building is close to 7th Street, right?
"How drunk are you?" I asked lightheartedly. "You know where I live,"
Oh, of course.
she said, rather abruptly.
I guess I can't get there by walking, huh?
"Not if you wanted to waste 30 minutes, I told her.
Right.
She said.
Okay, have to go. Good luck with your work.
I lowered my phone again, looking at the numbers flash as the call ended. Then the droning silence reasserted itself into my ears. The two strange calls in the eerie street outside just drove home my aloneness in this empty stairwell. Perhaps from having seen too many scary movies, I had the sudden, inexplicable idea that something could look in the door's window and see me. Some sort of horrible entity that hovered on the edge of aloneness, just waiting to creep on unsuspecting people that strayed too far away from other humans. I knew that the fear was irrational, but nobody else was around, so I jumped down the stairs, ran down the hallway to my room, and closed the door as fast as I could while still being silent. Like I said, I feel a little ridiculous for being scared of nothing, and the fear has already faded. Writing this down helps a lot. It makes me realize that nothing's wrong. It filters out these half-formed thoughts and fears and leaves only cold, hard facts. It's late, I got a call from a wrong number, and Amy's phone died, so she called me back from another number. Nothing strange is going on. Still, there was something a little off about that conversation. I know it could have just been the alcohol that she had, but actually, was it even her that seemed off to me? Actually, I remember what it was. I didn't realize it until this moment, writing it down. I knew that writing things would help. She said she was at a party, but I only heard silence in the background. Of course, that doesn't really mean anything in particular. She could have just gone outside to make the call. No, that couldn't be it either. I didn't hear the wind. I'm gonna go outside and see if the wind is still blowing. I forgot to finish writing last night. I'm not sure what I expected to see when I ran up the stairwell and looked out the heavy metal door's window. I'm feeling ridiculous. Last night's fear seems hazy and unreasonable to me now. I can't wait to go out into the sun. I'm gonna go check my email, shave, shower, and finally get out of here. Wait, I think I heard something. It was thunder. That whole sunlight and fresh air thing didn't happen. I went out into the stairwell and up the stairs only to find disappointment. The heavy door's window showed only flowing water as torrential rain slammed against it. Only a very dim, gloomy light filtered through the rain, but at least I knew it was daytime, even if it was a gray, sickly, wet day. I tried looking out the window and waiting for lightning to illuminate the gloom, but the rain was too heavy and I couldn't make out anything more than weird shapes moving at odd angles in the waves crashing down against the window. Disappointed, I turned around, but I didn't want to go back to my room. Instead, I wandered up the stairs, past the first floor, and past the second. The stairs ended at the third floor, the highest one in the building. I looked through the glass that ran up the outer wall of the stairwell, but it was that warped, thick kind that scatters light. Not that there was much to see through the rain to begin with. I opened the stairwell door and wandered down the hallway. The 10 or so thick wooden doors, painted blue a long time ago, were all closed. I listened as I walked, but it was the middle of the day, so I wasn't really surprised that I heard nothing but the rain outside. As I stood there in the dim hallway, listening to the rain, I had the strangest fleeting impression that the doors were standing like giant granite monoliths, ones that were erected by some ancient civilization for some forgotten reason. Lightning flashed, and I could have sworn that, for just a moment, the old grainy blue wood looked just like rough stone. I laughed at myself for letting my imagination get the best of me. But then it occurred to me that the dim gloom and lightning must mean that there was a window somewhere in the hallway. A vague memory surfaced, and I suddenly recalled that the third floor had an alcove and an inset window halfway down the floor's hallway. Excited to look out into the rain and possibly see somebody else, I quickly walked over to the alcove, finding the large, thin glass window. Rain washed down on it, as with the front door's window, but I could open this one. I reached a hand out to slide it open, but I hesitated. I had the strangest feeling that if I opened that window, I would see something absolutely horrifying on the other side. Everything's been so strange lately. So I came up with a plan and got back here to get what I needed. I don't really think that anything will come of it, but I'm bored, it's raining, and I'm going stir crazy. I came back to get my webcam. The cord isn't long enough to reach the third floor by any means, so instead I'm going to hide it between the two soda machines in the dark end of the basement hallway, running the wire along the wall and under my door, and I put black duct tape over the wire to blend it in with a black plastic strip that runs along the base of the walls. I know this is silly, but I don't have anything better to do. After setting it all up, I thought about the front door. Was there really nobody outside? I wanted a better look. I wanted to see more than what I could out of that tiny window, but I was scared of what would happen if that door opened. Still, the thought of seeing another human being strengthened my resolve. I propped open the hallway to stairwell door, steeled myself, then flung the heavy front door wide open, took a quick look, and ran like hell down the stairs to my room, slamming the door shut. After my heart stopped racing, all I could feel was a twinge of disappointment. All that effort and I didn't see anybody outside. I watched the webcam on my computer intently, seeing the hallway outside my door and most of the stairwell. I'm watching it right now, but I don't see anything interesting. I just wish the camera's position was different so that I could see out the front door. Hey, somebody's online. I got out an older, less functional webcam that I had in my closet to video chat with my friend online. I couldn't really explain to him why I wanted to video chat, but it felt good to see another person's face. We couldn't talk very long, we didn't talk about anything meaningful, but I feel a lot better. My strange fear has almost passed. I would feel completely better, but there was something strange about our conversation. I know that I've said that everything has seemed odd, but still, he was very vague in his responses. I can't recall one specific thing that he said, no particular name or place or event, but he did ask for my email address to keep in touch. Wait, I just got another email. I'm about to go out. I just got an email from Amy that asked me to meet her for dinner at the place that we usually go to. I do love pizza, and I've just been eating random food from my poorly stocked fridge for days, so I can't wait. Again, I feel ridiculous about the odd couple of days I've been having. I should destroy this journal when I get back. Oh, another email. Oh my god. I almost left the email and opened the door. I almost opened the door and went outside, but I read the email first. It was from a friend that I hadn't heard from in a long time, and it was sent to a huge number of emails, probably every single person he'd saved in his address list. It had no subject, and it just said, "Seen with your own eyes, don't trust them, they." What the hell is that supposed to mean? The words shock me, and I keep going over them in my head. Is it a desperate email sent just as something happened? The message is obviously cut off before it finished. On any other day, I would have dismissed this as spam or a computer virus or something, but the words, "seen with your own eyes." I can't help but read over this journal and think back on the last few days and realize that I have not seen another person with my own eyes or talked to another person face to face. The webcam conversation with my friend was so strange, so vague, so eerie now that I think about it. Was it eerie? Or is that just fear clouding my memory? My mind toys with a progression of events that I've written down, pointing out that I have not been presented with one single fact that I didn't give out first. The random wrong number that got my name, the subsequent strange return call from Amy, the friend that asked for my email address. I messaged him first when I saw him online. And then I got my first email a few minutes after that conversation. Oh my god. That phone call with Amy. I said over the phone, I said that I was within a half-hour's walk of 7th Street. They know that I'm near there. What if they're trying to find me? Where is everybody else? Why haven't I seen or heard anybody else in days? No, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. I need to calm down. This madness needs to end. I don't know what to think anymore. I ran around my apartment furiously, holding my cell phone up to every corner to see if it got a signal through the heavy walls. Finally, in the tiny bathroom, near one ceiling corner, I got a single bar. Holding my phone there, I sent a text message to every number in my list. Not wanting to give away anything about my unfounded fears, it just said, You seen anyone face to face lately? After that, I just wanted to reply. I didn't care what the reply was or if I embarrassed myself. I tried to call somebody a few times, but I couldn't get my head up high enough, and if I brought the cell phone down even an inch, it lost signal. Then I remembered the computer, and rushed over to it, instant messaging everybody online. Most were idle or away from their computer. Nobody responded. My messages got more frantic, and I started telling people where I was and to stop by in person for a host of barely passable reasons. I didn't care about anything by that point. I just needed to see another person. I also tore apart my apartment looking for something, anything that I might have missed, some way to contact another human being without opening the door. I know that's crazy. I know that it's unfounded, but what if? What if? I just need to be sure. I ended up taping the phone to the ceiling just in case. The phone finally rang. Exhausted from last night's rampage, I must have fallen asleep because I woke up to the phone ringing. I ran into the bathroom, stood on the toilet, and answered the phone taped to the ceiling. It was Amy, and I feel so much better. She was really worried about me and apparently had been trying to contact me since the last time I talked to her. She's coming over now, and yes, she knows where I am without me telling her. I feel so embarrassed. I'm definitely going to throw away this journal before anybody sees it. Actually, I'm not even sure why I'm writing in it now. Maybe it's just because it's the only communication I've had at all since... God knows when. I look like hell, too. I looked in the mirror before I came back in here. My eyes are sunken, my stubble is thicker, and I just look generally unhealthy. My apartment is trash, but I'm not going to clean it up. I think I need someone else to see what I've been through. The past few days have not been normal. I'm not the one to imagine things. I know I've been the victim of extreme probability. I probably missed seeing another person a dozen times. I just happened to go out when it was late at night or the middle of the day when everybody was gone. Everything's perfectly fine, and I know this now. Plus, I found something else in the closet that's helped me tremendously. A television. I set it up just before I wrote this, and it's on in the background. Television has always been an escape for me. It reminds me that there's a world beyond these brick walls. I'm glad that Amy is the only one that responded to me after last night's frantic pestering of everybody I knew. She's been my best friend for years. She probably doesn't know this, but I count the day that I met her among one of the few moments of true happiness in my life. I remember that warm summer day fondly. It seems like a different reality from this dark, lonely, rainy place. I feel like I spent days sitting in that playground, way too old to play, just talking with her and hanging around and doing nothing at all. I still feel like I can go back to that moment sometimes. It reminds me how much this world has to offer. Finally, there's a knock on the door. I definitely thought it was odd that I couldn't see her through the camera I hid between the two soda machines. I figured that it was just bad positioning, like when I couldn't see out of the front door. I should have known. I should have known. After she knocked, I yelled through the door jokingly that I had a camera between the soda machines, because I was kind of embarrassed that I had taken the paranoia this far. After I did that, I saw her image walk over to the camera and look down on it.
Hey.
She waved at the camera and gave it a wry look. It's weird, I know, I said to the mic attached to my computer, but I've had a weird few days.
Must have. Open the door, John.
I hesitated. How could I know? Hey, humor me for a second here, I told her through the mic. Tell me one thing about us. Something that would prove that you're you. She gave the camera a weird look.
All right. We met randomly at a playground when we were both way too old to be there?
I sighed deeply as reality returned and the fear faded away. God, I've been so ridiculous. Of course it was Amy. That day wasn't anywhere in the world except my memory. I had never talked about it with anybody, not out of embarrassment, but out of this strange sort of nostalgia and a longing for those days to return. If there was some unknown force trying to trick me, as I feared, there's no way they would ever know about it. Oh, okay, I'll explain everything, I told her. I'll be right there. I ran to the bathroom and fixed my hair as best I could. I looked like hell, but she would understand. Snickering at my own unbelievable behavior and the mess I'd made of the place, I walked to the door. I put my hand on the doorknob and gave the mess one last look. So ridiculous, I thought. My eyes traced over the half-eaten food lying everywhere, the overflowing trash can, the bed I tipped to the side looking for... I don't even know. I almost turned to the door and opened it, but my eyes fell on one last thing. The old webcam, the one I used for that eerily vacant video chat. Its silent black sphere lay haphazardly tossed to the side. Still on and connected to the computer, its lens was pointed at the table where the journal was. An overwhelming terror took me as I realized that if something could see through that camera, it would have seen what I wrote about that day. I asked her for any one thing about us, and she chose the only thing that I thought they or it didn't know. But it did. It did know. It could have been watching me this whole time! I didn't open the door. I screamed. I screamed in uncontrollable terror. I stomped on that old webcam until it broke. The door shook and the doorknob tried to turn, but I didn't hear Amy's voice through the door. Was the basement door made to keep out drafts just too thick? Or was she not even outside? What could have been trying to get in if it wasn't her? What's out there? I saw her on my computer through the camera outside, and I heard her on the speakers through the camera, but was it real? How could I know? She's gone now. I screamed and shouted for help. I pelted everything in my apartment against the front door. I think it's Friday. I broke everything electronic. I smashed my computer to pieces. Every single thing on there could have been accessed by the network or just altered. I'm a programmer, I know. Every little piece of information I gave out since this started, my name, my email, my location, none of it came back from the outside until I sent it out there. I've been going over and over what I wrote. I've been pacing back and forth, alternating between stark terror and overpowering disbelief. Sometimes I'm absolutely certain that some phantom entity is dead set on the simple goal of getting me to go outside. Back from the beginning, with a phone call from Amy, she was asking me to open the door and leave. I keep running through it in my head. One point of view says that I've acted like a madman, and all of this is just the extreme convergence of probability. Never going outside at the right times by pure luck, never seeing another person by pure chance, and getting a random nonsense email from some computer virus at just the right time. Another point of view says that the extreme convergence of probability is the reason why that whatever's out there hasn't already gotten me. I keep thinking. I never opened the window on the 3rd floor. I never opened the front door until that little stunt after the hidden camera, after which I ran straight to my room and slammed the door shut. I haven't opened my own solid door since I opened the front door of the building on Monday. Whatever's out there, if anything's out there, it hasn't made an appearance in the building until I opened the front door. Maybe the reason that it wasn't in the building already was that it was just elsewhere, getting everybody else. And then it waited until I betrayed my existence by trying to call Amy. A call that didn't work until it called me and asked me my name. Terror literally overwhelms me every time I try to fit pieces of this nightmare together. That email, short, cut off. Was it from someone trying to get the word out? Some friendly voice desperately trying to warn me before it came? Seen with my eyes, don't trust them. Exactly what I've been so suspicious of. It could have a masterful control of all things electronic, practicing its insidious deception to trick me into leaving this room. Why can't it get in? It knocked on the door, it has to have a solid presence. The door. The image of those doors in the upper hallway as guardian monoliths flashes back in my mind every time I try to trace this path of thought. If there is some phantom entity trying to get me to go outside, maybe it just can't get through the doors. I keep thinking back over all the books I've read or movies I've seen, trying to generate some explanation. Doors have always been an intense focus of human imagination, always seen as wards or portals of special importance. You know what, maybe the door is just too thick. I know that I couldn't bash through any of the doors in this building, let alone the heavy basement ones. But aside from that, the real question is, why does it even want me? If it just wanted to kill me, it could do it so many different ways, including just waiting for me to starve to death. What if it doesn't want to kill me, though? What if it has something worse in store? God, what can I do to escape this nightmare? A knock on the door. I told the people on the other side of the door that I need a minute to think before I come out. I'm really just writing this down so I can figure out what to do. At least this time I heard their voices. My paranoia, and yes, I recognize that I'm being paranoid, has me thinking of all sorts of ways that their voices could be faked electronically. There could be nothing but speakers outside, simulating human voices. Did it really take them 3 days to come and talk to me? Amy is supposed to be out there, along with 2 policemen and a psychiatrist. Maybe it took them 3 days to think of what to say to me. The psychiatrist's claim could be pretty convincing if I decided to think that this has all just been a crazy misunderstanding, and not some entity trying to get me to open that door. The psychiatrist had an older voice, authoritarian but still caring. I liked it. He said that I have something called Psychosis, and I'm just one of a nationwide epidemic of thousands of people having breakdowns triggered by a suggestive email that got through somehow. I swear, he said got through somehow. He could have just meant that it spread throughout the country inexplicably, but I'm suspicious that the entity just slipped up and revealed something. He said I'm part of a wave of emergent behavior, and that a lot of other people are having the same problem with the same fears, even though we never directly communicated. That neatly explains the strange email about eyes that I got. I didn't get the original triggering email, I got a descendant of it. My friend could have broken down too and tried to warn everyone he knew about his own paranoid fears. That's how the problem spreads, the psychiatrist claims. I could have spread it too with my texts and instant messages online to everybody that I knew. One of those people might be melting down right now after being triggered by something I sent them, something they might interpret any way they want. Something as simple as a text saying, "Seen anyone face to face lately?" The psychiatrist told me that he didn't want to lose another one, that people like me are intelligent, and that's our downfall. We draw connections so well that we draw them when they aren't even there. He said it's easy for me to get caught up in paranoia in this fast-paced world, a constantly changing place where more and more of our interaction is simulated. I have to give him one thing. That is a great explanation. It neatly explains everything. Perfectly, in fact. I have every reason to shake off this fear that something or someone out there wants me to open this door so that it can capture me for some horrible fate worse than death. It would be foolish, after hearing that, to stay in here until I starve to death just to spite the entity that might have gotten everybody else. It would be insane to think that, after hearing that explanation, I might be one of the last people left alive in an empty world, hiding in my secure basement room, spiting some unthinkable deceptive entity just by refusing to get captured. It is a perfect explanation for every single strange thing that I've seen or heard, and I have every reason in the world to let go of my fears and open the door. But I can't. How can I know? How can I know what's real and what's lies? All of these damn things with their wires and their signals that originate from some unseen origin, they're not real! I can't know! Signals that go through a camera, a faked video, deceptive phone calls, emails, even the television that's lying broken on the floor. How can I know that any of it is real? It's just signals, waves, light. The door. It's bashing on the door. It's trying to get in. How could they possibly simulate the sound of men attacking the heavy wood so well? At least I'll finally see with my own eyes. There's nothing left in here for it to deceive me with. I've ripped apart everything else. It can't deceive my eyes, can it? See them with your own eyes. Don't trust them. Wait. Was that desperate message telling me to trust my eyes? Or warning me about my eyes too? Oh my god, what's the difference between a camera and my eyes? They both turn light into electric signals. They're the same. I can't be deceived. I have to know. I have to be sure. I calmly asked for a paper and pen, day in, day out, until it finally gave them to me. I felt the bandages on my eyes. The pain is gone. I figured that this will be one of my last chances to write legibly, because without my sight to correct my mistakes, my hands will just forget the motions involved. This writing is kind of a self-indulgence. It's a relic of another time, because I'm certain that everybody else in the world is dead. Or something worse. I sit against this padded wall day in and day out. The entity gives me food and water. It masks itself as a kind nurse, as a doctor. I think it knows that my hearing is sharpened so much now that I live in darkness. It fakes conversations in the hallways on the off chance that I might overhear. One of the nurses talks about having a baby soon. One of the doctors lost his wife in a car accident. None of it matters. None of it's real. None of it gets to me. Not like she does. That's the worst part, the part that I almost can't handle. The thing comes to me masquerading as Amy. It sounds like Amy. It feels like her. When it first dragged me here, it told me all the things I wanted to hear. It told me that she loved me, that she'd always loved me, that she couldn't understand why I did this, that we could still have a life together. If only I could stop insisting I was being deceived. It wanted me to believe. No, it needed for me to believe that she was real. I almost fell for it. I really did. I doubted myself for the longest time. But in the end, it was all too perfect, too flawless, too real. The false Amy used to come every day, then every week, and finally just stopped coming altogether. But I don't think that the entity is going to give up. I'm sure that the waiting game is just another one of its gambits. I will resist until the day I die, if I have to. I don't know what happened to the rest of the world, but I do know that this thing needs for me to fall for these lies. If it needs that, then maybe, just maybe, I can be a thorn in its agenda. Maybe Amy is still alive somewhere out there, kept alive only by my will to resist the deception. I hold on to that hope, rocking back and forth in myself to pass the time. I will never give in. I will never break. I'm not just a rebel. I'm a hero.
The doctor read the paper the patient had scribbled on. It was barely readable, written in the shaky script of one who could not see. He wanted to smile at the man's steadfast resolve, a reminder of the human will to survive, but he knew that the patient was completely delusional. After all, any sane man would have fallen for it a long time ago. The doctor wanted to smile. He wanted to whisper words of encouragement to the delusional man. He wanted to scream, but the nerve filaments wrapped around his head and in his eyes wouldn't let him. Instead, he walked into the cell like a puppet, telling the patient, once more, that he was wrong. Nobody was trying to deceive him.